This conference will now be recorded.
Any idea? What did we discuss last class, Avinav?
uh, Static
Correct.
and the dynamic. You want to create dynamic URL, and after that,
Correct. Dynamic URL, yes, static pages. So we learned two important things there. One was
yes,
extend,
sir.
one was include. So when do we use
Yes,
extend?
sir.
When do we use include?
Extend. You can extend only one, sir.
Uh-huh.
But include we can use two or more HTML files.
Correct. Right? So yes, so we created HTML file for each of the views, and what we did was we had one base file which is getting populated, okay, every time. So depending upon which view is called, we are extending that template, main template. Okay. So something that will remain common across, you can call it, and you can also include some other HTML file also in your HTML file. So you can include, you can extend a base template, that is another base HTML file, or you can include some other files as well, right? So uh, I think those are the things that we discussed, right?
Yes, sir.
Today, okay, yes, we discussed that we will add CSS files, isn't it?
Yes,
Okay, so
sir.
we have seen HTML files, right? We have seen how to extend or include HTML file. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now we will learn how to use say, CSS files.
Sir, we can use XML files also, no, sir, in this
Oh yes, you can use anything.
Django.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, let me close my WhatsApp. Okay, so what I was thinking is we created navigation bar. Okay, we included, right. Mm, okay, so so generally, let's say, okay, let me open a website. Let's say I open this website. Okay, taking some time. Let it. Yeah. So this is an example of a website. Okay. Now let's say I open abc.html. It does not have abc.html file. This website does not have abc.html. So what happens when I'm trying to open a page which is not there,
Page not found.
right? So yes, let's. I don't know. Internet is so slow. Is this website? So you get page not found, isn't it? Now when so your home page looks so good. Okay. Now you see. So here you see all these informations are from the main page only, right? Only this part is not found, isn't it? So this is called 404 template. 404 is the error which says, 404 is the error for page not found. Okay. So
Yes,
this
sir.
is called 404 error. Okay, page not found. Now you see that it does not look like as if that this is not your page. See the header, footer, everything looks like main page only. So it looks like as if that page is there, right? Okay, it looks like
Yes,
as
sir.
if ABC page is there, and which says that page not found. Okay, if I make it ABCD, okay, still you will get same page. Okay, so if the page does not exist, okay, you get 404, and this is a good way to show because it doesn't look like as if you are out of page or you're out of website. It looks as if you're still part of the same website. Look and feel everything is same. Message is 404. So how do we create such template? Okay. So what we'll do is first we'll create a 404, just like we created base.html. Okay, so challenges, templates, base.html. We'll create here 404 error. So I'm going to say here 40404 dot html. Okay, so this is 404 html. Now you can put some content here. So what we'll do is we will let it also extend the base.html only. Okay, so that look and feel remains same. So to do that, I need to remove all these things, right? Because the HTML code it will pick from base.html. So how do we do that? We'll say DTL tag, and I'm going to say extends, okay,
Yes.
base.html and close the tag, right? And now we will put some content here. Okay, so we will say the tag here. Okay, let's say we'll give it a name, right? Block. And what was that? If you remember, we had given two blocks, right? One was body content, another was page title, right? So I'm going to say page title. Okay, page title. Okay, and we will give the title here, and we will close the tag. Okay, so let's close the tag first, and then we will give the. So I'm going to say and block. Okay, and here I'm going to give the content something like okay, so maybe like 404 error, right? Page not found, right? So this is our title block. Now we can add our block content, right? Body content, right? It was body content, correct? The end block, and here you can add okay. Let's say we say H1, we say B, okay. Sorry, uh, okay. Sorry, something went wrong and you have landed on a wrong page. Okay, something like this. Okay, so this is it. So this is fine. Okay, just like we did any view, we created this. But what is the problem? How is it different than views? How is it different than views?
In views, we can use home.html and name and define function is there, no sir, in views.
No, so see, in views, we know when to call. So if you say index, index will challenge, challenge will call challenge.html. Correct? Index will call index.html. Right? But here, okay, we know what will not call this. Right? Challenge will not call, index will not call. But everything else should call this. Right? So we have to go back to views. Okay, let's go to views. Okay, and we use something called a render to string because it's a string message, right? So we'll go and we will add render to string. Okay, so here why is it okay? We are not using it, right? So yes, render to string, we'll use it. Okay, this one we are going to use it again. Okay, so when to use it? When there is exception. When there is an exception, we need to call this, right? So I'm going to add it here. Okay, it says views here, right? Let's do it here. So here I'm going to say okay. Mm, so so see here. Where is it? here, right? So here we are saying invalid month, isn't it? Okay. Here we are saying invalid. So if you try to enter some other value, okay, it gives message invalid month. So this is where we need to call, right? Or we can even call it here, where there is a path, and if path is not found, okay, then we can call it here, right? Right. So what I'll do here is I come here, okay, in the except, I'm going to comment this part, okay, for a moment, and I'm going to add here the response data, okay, something like this. So response data equal to, okay, render to string because we're adding a string, right? So response data, okay, and response data we will say render to string, okay, and inside we will call the file that we have 404 html 404.html, okay. Now here we'll do return http response, okay, and we will pass the response data, okay. So now I'll go and run this. So manage.py run server, okay, and right, challenges. Server is not up. Let the server come up. Yes. Okay. Now I give abc.html. I'm calling abc.html. Okay. So see, it says template does not exist. Okay. So this is looking for challenges templates 404.html. Templates, inside this we have challenges, isn't it? So what we need to do is here, okay, we will say challenges. Right? It's going up to templates. It's not going to challenges. That's why I'm saying challenges. Right? Okay, so it's giving error. What is the error? Extends local variable. We are not passing the local variable here. Okay. So what we do is it's not HTTP response. You have to say not found. Okay. So not found. Okay. Another return self.template.render. Okay. So the problem here is, see, earlier it would have worked, but now we are trying to render a string value, but it's a normal web page. It's not a string. It's a normal web page, right? So in such case, what we do is we need to call HTTP 404. Okay, not render to string. Okay, because render to string will happen when you have a web page and you are rendering a string. So that's so earlier when we did that, we got used to able to send the string message, but now it's a web, it's a HTML page. Okay, so it will give us error. So what we do here, we will call from HTTP, we will call HTTP 404. Okay, so we'll call HTTP 404, and instead of render string, okay, we will raise HTTP 4. It's an exception, right? So we can raise. So there is an inbuilt. So I'm going to say, okay, it has to be inside this raise HTTP 4. Okay, now let's see this. Change to false. Okay, so 404 is not visible in your debug option, right? So what we need to do is for temporary, we'll go to settings. Okay, project settings, and we will set debug to true. 404 is not available in debug true. Okay, so debug means you are doing on the testing, right? So we'll make debug set to false. Where is debug? Yeah, here. So you're saying that we are deploying it. Okay, so I'm going to set it false. Now 404, because 404 is page not found, right? So this will be called in the debug set to false. Okay, let it get refreshed. What happened? Did our, oh yeah, because when you set it right, so it will, the server will stop. Okay, so we have to start the server again. You cannot settings are allowed host if debug is false. Okay, so there are a few things that you have to do. Okay, so here we'll say local host. Local host. Okay, so it's not local host. What I'll say 127.0.0.1. Okay. So which all host is allowed to access? Okay, or local host. Yeah, anyway, not using. We are using IP address, right? So we are saying maybe. Sorry, send this. Yes, I think it ran. Now let's go and refresh this page. Right? So see, you got not found. Right? So this is how you can set your 404 error. Okay?
Sir, if you use star in allowed local host means, sir.
That also will be fine. Star means all.
Okay, sir.
Okay? So everybody's, otherwise if you give the IP address, then only that IP address will be able to access. Other IP address will not be able to access.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So yeah, we'll make it debug equal to true and allowed host. Okay. Now I was saying that let's add a let add some CSS file. Okay. So CSS files will be stored in static files. Okay. So when you go to this installed apps here, okay. So you see this, okay. This is there. That means we can add static files. Okay. So now if this is not there, you add this line. And one more thing is in the static URL, we are giving this folder name, right? Um, this static. Okay. This is this talks about where the static file will be kept. So now we will go under static. Okay. So this is the folder. Okay. So this is saying that this has to be inside static. So you have challenges app. Inside this, I'm going to create a new static folder. Okay. So this is pointing to this. Inside this, okay, you can create directly, can create CSS, or can create a couple of folders, okay, depending upon how you want to do it. So if you're working with multiple apps, better to create folder for each app. Okay. But anyway, I'm not doing it. So here I can go and I can say file. Okay, and I will name it as main.css, something like this. So this main.css file is ready here. Now you can add some code, right? So let's say I will say I'll add say UL. Okay, so UL will be the list, right? And okay, I add something list style. Okay, I'm adding this code here. Okay, or you can see, I'm just showing you example. When you practice, is try to add more code to CSS. Okay, try to add you have already seen CSS, right? So probably you can copy and paste the same CSS code here as well. Okay, now we will use this in the base.html. So when we go to base.html, I'm going to add this CSS. So where will I add this CSS? How do we add this CSS? In the remember how to add CSS?
Include.
Okay, so just like we have this base block thing, right? We can add a CSS block somewhere. So you can add inside block content, outside, above, below, right? So what I'll do is I'm going to add a CSS block here. I'm saying I want this part only to be addressed by that particular CSS. So I'll say block, okay, something like main CSS, something like that. I'll go. So this is our main CSS block, right? Okay, you can put it inside head only. Actually, this should be okay to tell that you are using CSS, right? So okay, so CSS. If you remember, we have to add it in the head, right? That's when it knows which folder, which file to look for. So okay, since we are in static, okay, we don't have to give anything. So this is the indication that I'm going to use static file here, right? Now to call this, okay, okay, so this is the position, right? But each view will be able to call the CSS. If you want to call, you call it. If you don't want to call it, that position will be blank, isn't it? So we added it after index to address, right? So we added it after in the head itself, right? So we go to this, right? So this is our index.html, okay? and after this extend, I will say load that CSS. Okay, so to do that you have to use load static. That means you are loading static files. Okay, static folder here. So static folder is loaded. Now to add this block CSS, okay, so what we'll do is we will copy this code here and I will add it here, let's say. Okay, so here what was the name? It was main CSS, isn't it? Main CSS. So did I do anything wrong here? I think this was by mistake, isn't it? We don't need it. Right? Yes. So this is how we loaded CSS, and it will look in all these files. It will look in challenges, it will look in the static. So it will find in the static. So it will not give you any error. Now how to link? Okay, so to create that link, we use link command, right? Link tag. Link, then the relationship is what? It's a style sheet. So you will say style sheet. Okay. Now you have to give it a link, right? So href equal to, right? Okay, href. Okay, and this should be it. Yes.
Sir, we use A, no sir, alphabet A.
No. This was style sheet. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So href is to give link. Okay, and A is to say that where that link will be available, right? So href will only give the link here.
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay. So href. Okay, and we will give the link to the style sheet here. Okay, so this link is closed. So we are putting in the link tag, not a tag. Okay. Okay. Now we will put our DTL tag. Okay, and here we'll say static equal to, okay, static. Okay, and we will give the path here. Okay, so path is main dot CSS. Okay. Okay, so we created a CSS file. Okay, we created the CSS file. We made the changes in the base. Okay, where we are using it. Now we made change in the index also. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now our CSS file is ready. So if you go back, we had a UL thing, right? Let's go and see what happens to the UL. You see the bullet is gone, right? Because we said that in main.css that style sheet none, right? So it became none. The style sheet, the bullet is gone. Right? So you can see the impact of CSS. Right? So this is how you can add CSS files. Okay. So we'll stop here today. Okay. We will not meet tomorrow and day after. We'll meet on Monday. And on Monday, we'll talk about database. Admin part. We'll first talk about admin part. Okay. We'll talk about admin part, then we'll talk about database part. So admin part will again go on for a few days. Okay, and then we'll talk about database. I was hoping to complete next week, but looks like, because I was not well for 2-3 days, next week we will not be able to complete, but following week we'll complete it. Okay, so now we have done template, we have done static files, right? When we do models, right, or admin thing, right, we will learn to add more static files. We'll learn to add photos as well. Okay, so once we are done with admin and this, then you do your project 2, assignment 2. Okay, second project. I hope, have you done the
Okay.
first project? Is your computer working now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please do the first project. Everything is given to you. Okay, step by step guide. You can do that. Then hopefully in next another like 6-7 days we'll complete the course which that we have done. Then the project 2 will be there. So complete project 2 and then we will end our Django module.
Okay, sir.
Sounds good. So when you're practicing, practice more than, because see, my job here is to tell you how to add, where to link. Sometimes things get confused, right? So you have to see the error message and then go back and fix it, right? So here, for example, I did not give the challenges folder, right? It was looking in the temp. So you see that it was looking in the template. So it was looking in template. That means you have to send it one more step inside challenges. So you add /challenges, right? And then you'll be able to do that. Okay, so sure, great. So over the weekend, practice this the UI part, and Monday when we meet, we'll talk about the admin part. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.